How's it going, Yankee fans? Welcome back to Fireside Yankees with your boys, Alex and Ryan. We're talking about Anthony Volpe and a little bit of a tough decision the Yankees are going to have to make with Luis Severino after the season if he does not pick things up. I did some deep dives into both Volpe and Severino this morning on Empire Sports Media, a couple articles if you want to go check those out. They're on the website, of course, and on social media channels as well. So, guys, this is going to be interesting. Volpe completely flipping the script, completely turning things around. The kid is red hot. He has 5 consecutive games with 2 or more hits, Ryan. I think all the negative things that were coming out about him a couple weeks ago have been put to bed. All it took was some chicken parm and a little bit of a batting stance change. And ultimately, Volpe has found his swing. He's found his discipline. His strikeout rate is below 30% for the first time in weeks. And his numbers in June are pretty damn good. And, you know, Ryan, we said this way back when he was first getting promoted. It was going to take him some time to get better. We estimated it around May, ended up being June. We're happy it's here because, goodness gracious, we've needed the offense, and he's been stellar. That triple yesterday was badass, and he's been getting some good power along with those good at-bats and good swings and good contact. But Ryan, before we dive into Volpe and kind of what's going on with Severino right now, how you do today, my friend?
I'm doing great. I feel like we're finally seeing the things we needed to see from Volpe, which was better swing decisions as of late. We're seeing really good quality of contact, which we have seen all year. Like, his quality of contact numbers had been pretty good throughout the season, but it came at the cost of worse swing decisions. And I felt like the issue was that he was either A, going to make a lot of really good swing decisions, but not hit for great power, or B, have good batted ball data and not make good swing decisions. And that's kind of an issue, right? If you cannot do both at the same time, you're likely not going to project very well as a major leaguer. And we're finally seeing that. This is a player who I think does a lot of things really well on the offensive side of the ball. He consistently gets sweet spots. He has a 38% sweet spot rate, which is, again, a metric that takes into account how many times you hit the ball between the launch angle of 8 degrees and 32 degrees. Why is that important? Because league-wide, you do a really good job of getting hits and having a high BABIP and hitting for a high average when you consistently reach those launch angles or get within that range of launch angles. Plenty of line drives, plenty of fly balls that aren't hit too high for them to be pop-ups. Most of those go for extra base hits. Overall, it's what you're looking for offensively. Barrel-wise, he's barreling more baseballs than the average hitter at 9.1%. Average exit velocity is better than league average, 89.7 miles an hour compared to 88.4 for the league average. The hard hit rate's at 45%. Everything's looking really good. The quality of contact metrics are phenomenal, and the swing decisions. His chase rate is dropping steadily. His swinging strike rate is also dropping. Those are 2 things you love to see. Overall, since the chicken parm sandwich, yes, he has a higher chase rate than his season numbers, but if you dissect that to really the last few games, really since the start of the Texas series, his chase rate's 28.3% and his swinging strike rate's 10.8%. Those are well below what his season totals are. I feel like he's doing a better job of identifying pitches. I think he's doing a better job of making strong swing decisions. He's working counts. He's not going up there looking helpless. It's finally coming all together for him. And he's actually been better defensively. His OAA is steadily getting better. He already has 6 defensive runs saved on the season and a positive UZR. So I'd say he's definitely not a bad defender. I'd call him an above average one right now. And his base running is good. Hitting that triple, I understand, end of the day, triple isn't, going to blow your socks off in terms of hitting just one, but he's hit multiple this season. He's shown great base running decisions. If you look at the replay for that triple, he identifies that IKF has to wait a little bit on that fly ball, doesn't overrun him or outrun him. He's got blistering speed. So if he just put his head down and run, he would have absolutely passed IKF on the base paths there, and he would have been out because you can't do that in baseball, unfortunately. So he makes smart decisions. He's playing better baseball. And overall, I think you and I can agree, if he can continue this going forward, the Yankees are going to have some serious conversations at some point during the year about maybe putting him at the leadoff spot because they haven't had a leadoff hitter all year. So overall, super encouraging. And it's just a matter of continuing to build off of this hot stretch.
Absolutely. So taking a look at his numbers, guys, when he got into the beginning of June, when June 1st rolled around, Volpe was really struggling, guys. He was hitting, 190 with a 268 OBP. In the month of June, those averages skyrocketed. The guy finished June hitting 265 with a 342 OBP. Currently, he's hitting 220 with a 295 OBP. But the past couple of weeks for this kid have been electric. So in the last 7 days, he's slashing 522 with a 542 OBP and 697 slugging percentage with a 1.237 OPS. Over the past 15 days, he's hitting 366 with a 435 OBP and 537 slugging percentage. I mean, the numbers are there. You tell me he's already up to a 90 WRC plus. He was at an 80 WRC Plus 2 days ago, my friends. He is skyrocketing up the metrics right now, and he's becoming an above average player pretty quickly. So, this is a situation where the Yankees can look at themselves and say, okay, like this is working. Whatever he's doing right now, keep doing it. I know the Athletics are terrible. I know St. Louis's pitching is pretty bad, but Volpe wasn't hitting anybody. It wasn't just the good or bad teams. He wasn't hitting anybody. And now he's hitting, at least he's taking advantage of the poor squads and boosting his numbers pretty significantly. His confidence is back. We know this. We saw it during spring training. When Volpe is confident, this is a different player. This is a different beast. But Ryan, I want to discuss his defense as well. His defense lately has been really, really good. Really good. He has 6 defensive runs saved already. He has -1 out above average, but the defensive runs saved certainly outweighs that metric, and I wouldn't be surprised if he broke even on the outs above average pretty soon. He hasn't been committing any errors, knock on wood. He's been super consistent. The range is there. The arm is there. The athleticism is there. The confidence is there. His offense has been phenomenal, but, looking at his defense, has that also impressed you? Because I know that was something that people and scouts were very concerned about going into his professional career, but I think he's kind of putting that narrative to bed.
Yeah, he's gotten a lot better defensively. I think he's making better or more consistent paths to the baseball. If you look at outs above average in the month of June, he's up to +2. In previous months, it was not that good. He's doing a better job of getting to the baseball. He's doing a better job of balancing, getting both to the right and to the left. He was struggling on what felt like routine plays. This felt very similar to the struggles IKF was having last year, and those felt mental. That didn't feel like IKF was like on a true talent level, just not good at fielding ground balls, but it was routine plays, and it felt like Volpe started to botch routine plays. A ground ball right at him, he'd boot it. He'd be coming in on a baseball, he'd boot it. And now when he comes to those baseballs, when he gets to those routes, when he has those plays, he's making those plays consistently. Is he going to make another error this year? Probably. I mean, it's July. Like, it's pretty likely over the course of the next 2 to 3 months, he'll make another error. But it's about just being consistent. It's about making the plays that you're expected to make. The Yankees aren't asking him to win a Gold Glove. I don't think that's what the expectation was for Volpe coming into the season. But I think the expectation is that he's able to give you consistent plays and just make you not sweat when the ball's hit at him. And that's really the big thing here. Kind of emphasizing that, better, just overall being better at baseball really is what this is. It feels like he's just routing out his game really well. I feel like his approach to play is significantly better than what it was before. I feel like we're looking at a player who is really just finding his swing, finding who he is as a hitter, and finding that he is a line drive guy, right? Like, end of the day, that is the type of hitter he is. I'm referencing sweet spot percentage again, just because I think it's such an important metric for Volpe. He's at 54.1%. 54.1%. Over half his baseballs are hit within really that line drive to low fly ball launch angle, and those low fly balls that travel out and typically result in barrels and extra base hits and home runs and all that stuff. He's consistently getting there, and that's telling me that the swing is right. He was struggling with that before. That's been something he struggled with at the minor league level when he gets off the slow starts. We saw that last year. He had a stretch where he was hitting a lot of infield fly balls, not really hitting a lot of line drives. We saw it reflect in his BABIP. He actually BABIP only 272 last year in AA, which was well below what we saw the year prior. And this year, he's only at 288. Before this stretch, he had one of the lowest BABIPs in baseball. And I actually was looking at this for a guy who's fast, hits a decent amount of fly balls, pulls a good amount of his fly balls, has a good sense of hitting the ball the other way as well. It was weird that he had a low BABIP. It felt like a combination of poor luck, poor contact skills, and maybe just not having his swing completely intact. And now it's there. And when he puts the ball in play, good things can happen because he's such a dynamic base runner. We know he's a smart base runner. We know he's fast. We know he's athletic. He's gifted. He has to get on base and put the ball in play in order for those skills to be put on display. And I think that he's emphasizing hitting more line drives. I don't think it's a matter of, he's not, he doesn't care about hitting for power anymore or any of that stuff. But I think it's just more of finding who he is as a hitter and who he's been his entire career and having that finally translate to the major league level. And he feels like a hits machine right now.
He is a hits machine right now, but let's take a look at a little bit more of a not so fun topic, and that's Luis Severino. Severino has not been good this year, objectively. He's a player that the Yankees need to be making a decision on after this season. They picked up his $15 million club option prior to this year, and unfortunately, a lot of his pitch metrics are not so good. His velocity is good. Velocity is totally fine. But his slider, the horizontal movement, that sweeper, it's it's pretty similar. I think the location of it has been an issue, but the fastball has seen a pretty significant drop off in efficiency. Unfortunately, his strikeouts are down, his left on base percentage is down, his ground ball rates are down. He's giving up the most home runs, 2.25 per 9 innings in his career, with the highest home run to fly ratio in his fly ball ratio in his career at 18.2%. Just essentially everything is looking bad. And he said yesterday, I think this whole year has been concerning for me. I want to be able to go out there and help my team. It's frustrating that I can't do that right now. But if you're looking at the fastball specifically, his changeup's been solid, probably his best pitch by far. But that fastball has really kind of put a little bit of a wrench into his qualities. You're seeing about more than an inch of fewer, I guess an inch fewer of vertical break, and even the horizontal movement is down significantly. Opposing teams are crushing it. They're hitting 296 against it. Maybe that'd be his slider. His fastball, I think it's up there. I think maybe it's 300. So you're kind of seeing a pretty significant drop off in a multitude of different categories. But Ryan, when you're looking at Severino, like what do you think is going on with him? Because the velocity is fine. Like his stuff is there. It's just not locating properly. He's not, maybe the pitch sequence is bad. Why are they hitting his slider more, despite the fact that the rotations and the RPMs look pretty similar to previous seasons? Like, what do you think the problem is right now?
Yeah, so as a whole, like his stuff is just not what it was last year. His fastball stuff plus last year was pretty good. It was 112. This season, it's 101. That's a pretty significant drop off, and that's a concerning one. His stuff plus last year as a whole, 108. This year, 102. When we're looking at, like, as you mentioned with the fastball, last year he had 17.4 inches of induced vertical break, and he had a 275 WOBA allowed against it. WOBA is weighted on base average. You scale it like OBP, so 400 would be like elite for a hitter. Anything below 300 is elite for a pitcher. So overall, not really getting great results on his fastball this year because it's 396. Now 396, well, again, we're getting close to 400 there. That's not good for a pitcher. That's really good for a hitter. And he's lost an inch of vertical break, as you mentioned, 1 inches of induced vertical break versus 17.4 inches. That's the difference between having a fastball that rides up in the zone and gets swings and misses and having a dead zone fastball, a fastball that looks flat to hitters and is pretty easy to barrel up. Then when you look at, his slider and his secondary pitches, everything's fine there. He lost a little bit of depth on the slider. If you look at the changeup is completely fine in terms of pitch movement, but the usage of his pitches as well. Last year, 20.7% slider usage. This year, 14.3% usage. He's trying to rely on his cutter a little bit more. His cutter shape's a little bit more different. He has, it's a little bit different. He has more depth and a little more glove side movement on it, but it's getting hammered. Everything feels like it's getting hammered because his arsenal just isn't as good as it used to be. And when you lose an inch of vertical life on your fastball without any added depth on your changeup, now the vertical separation off your fastball and your changeup is worse. Your changeup's now an easier pitch to hit. I'm very concerned about Luis Severino. My concern radar is about as high as it can be. I think the Yankees are going to have to replace him in the rotation because at this point, we don't think this isn't a pitcher who has been healthy for the last 3 or 4 years who just doesn't have it right now. This is a guy who's gone through multiple, and I mean multiple severe injuries, all in the shoulders and elbows. It's catching up to him, I feel like. The mechanics feel off. Everything feels off right now. It feels like his fastball doesn't have it anymore. The Yankees need to realize, and I said this on the live stream yesterday, we can't sit here and say, we're thinking about the postseason. They have to get to the postseason. That's step one. This team is not last year's team. Last year's team, their postseason spot felt guaranteed the second we hit June. This year's team does not have a postseason spot guaranteed. They're in a playoff spot right now, but they are dangling by the thinnest of margins on that playoff spot. Luis Severino is not giving you a chance to win. I know Cortez's ERA on the season is ugly, but it's because of 2 starts. For the most part, the majority of his starts have been giving you chances to win. You can't say the same about Severino. Herman, kind of similar situation. Got bombed for 2 starts, but for the most part, it's giving you a chance to win. Clark Schmidt has kind of consistently, ever since the end of April, given you chances to win. Obviously, Garrett Cole. I don't even have to say anything about Garrett Cole. But Randy Vasquez, even Johnny Brito has given you shots to win, right? Randy Vasquez has pitched pretty well. The Yankees can't afford to keep getting bombed on Luis Severino starts. It's going to kill their bullpen as well. Their bullpen is done right now. They have no bullpen right now. It's cooked. They had to use everyone yesterday. And part of that was that Severino didn't give them any length, right? If they got any length from Luis Severino, any sort of a competent start, their bullpen situation is looking a lot better today. Garrett Cole is going to be asked to do a lot, and they don't have an off day Monday. They play tomorrow. They play the Baltimore Orioles. That's a big series. So you're not only worsening that one game that, yes, you lost that Cardinals game, but you dampened your ability to win that second game. You're lucky that the offense pulled through in that ninth inning and the bullpen was just absolutely phenomenal. Michael King did a great job. Clay Holmes did a great job. Lonnie Peralta did a great job. And you're able to work around that. The offense, obviously, in the ninth inning did great, but you're in a bad position right now with your bullpen. You're in a bad position tomorrow with your bullpen. The effects of a bad Luis Severino start, which you've gotten multiple of, ripples throughout the course of an entire series and can hurt your playoff chances. This team cannot afford this. They can't. Severino's, he's got a very short leash. He's got like 1 or 2 more starts for me. He puts together a bad start in his next outing. I'm gonna be all on the bullpen train. I am already on the train that he's got to go to the bullpen. I'm going to be even more so inclined to feel that way if the next start doesn't look good. It's got to happen now. It can't happen a month from now. It has to happen now because they got to acquire a starter to replace him if this is how it's going to be.
I mean, it's definitely an interesting conversation because at this rate, like, he's gone after this year. Like, unfortunately, we kind of have to cut bait with guys that just can't maintain either consistency or health, and he can't do either at this point. And I know he's frustrated, and we all want Sevy to be great. He's a great dude. We love him. He's a guy that's been developed for a long time as a Yankee. And unfortunately, it just hasn't kind of worked out to the best of his abilities. And last year was really good, but this year has completely fallen off. So we'll see how they operate. We'll see if they get a starting pitcher to supplement that. We'll see if they just keep rolling with him, knowing the Yankees are going to keep throwing him out there, hoping for better performances. He did have one good performance against the Rangers through, I think, 6 scoreless innings, if I'm not mistaken, 5 scoreless innings. So that was definitely a benefit, but that was the one good performance out of the last 6. So it definitely doesn't indicate a kind of consistent stretch of positive impact performances. But guys, I'd love to hear your perspectives below on both Volpe and Luis Severino, what you think they should do with Sevy at this point in time, if you think they should keep giving him opportunities or not. But guys, always happy to hear that. And also make sure to like and subscribe as always. And we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.